hello, Greg, and welcome to the Insurer TV.
Peter, glad to be with you.
Great. And Greg, later this year, of course, Aon is scheduled to complete its groundbreaking acquisition of Willis Towers Watson. And consistently throughout 2020, you emphasised one of the logics of the transaction was that it would create a global intermediary that had the bandwidth and the expertise to sort of address many of these risk concerns which you've talked about. Can you elaborate? Aon and indeed Willis Towers Watson are both large global entities in their own right. So it'd be very interesting to hear you elaborate on what you mean exactly by this and how the new combined entity can further enhance the offerings.
Well, if you step back, Peter, and just again think about through the lens of a client and through the lens of a colleague, and you ask the question, what's going on with clients around the world, and as I described before, the level of demand they have in the here and now, given the current market environment, but also in the future as their challenges increase and evolve over time. How do we, as an industry, actually respond to these in a way that's effective? And as we step back and thought about Aon and Willis Towers Watson, our view was this is an opportunity to do something that hasn't been done before on behalf of clients and equally important colleagues. And let me describe for a minute. If you think about sort of what's happened in terms of relevance for our industry over the last 30 years, for a period of time from the 70s to the 90s, we increased relevance. If you think about risk as a percent of GDP, but really since the mid 90s, for 30 years, risk as a percent of GDP has come down. 30 years, a trend, which means relevance, overall relevance. Doesn't mean we're not doing good things, but in terms of relevance, in terms of what our clients are doing, has come down for 30 straight years. How do you break that trend? You break that trend by addressing these long tail risks. You break that trend in bringing solutions to bear. You break that trend by addressing the here and now and the challenges that clients are facing. In our view, the combination with Willis Towers Watson is an opportunity to do that. For our colleagues, imagine a colleague sitting across the table from a client a year from now with additional capability to help that client address challenges they haven't been able to address. That means the colleague opportunity is tremendous. Equally important, clients will see an opportunity to see innovation that breaks that 30-year trend. That's our goal. That's our objective. By the way, that will benefit Aon and Willis Towers Watson, maybe, of course, but more important, and the only thing that really matters, is it benefits our clients through our colleagues. It also has the potential to increase and shape our industry and create more opportunity, because our view is for clients, this can't be a zero-sum game. This has to be an opportunity of net new on their behalf. If we're not addressing, back to the CEO agenda, the issues most prominent for the C-suite, for risk leaders around the world, what are we really doing, on their behalf? And so we see this as an opportunity as we bring the two firms together to set a new standard in client leadership on behalf of colleagues, a profound opportunity for colleagues, but also an equally important, a great opportunity for clients to address their most important needs. And in the end, it's all about clients and colleagues.
Great. Actually, and picking up, following up on the combination. Of course, what we saw late last year was the European Commission say that it was going to look a little bit more closely at the transaction. Was this a sort of a bump in the road, or indeed was this entirely expected? Does it change your confidence in any way at all about the timing, or indeed how the transaction is going to be structured?
I would say the process we announced on March 9th last year. We had a view we'd close in the first half of the year. We're exactly on target for what we expected back on March 9th. We had a set of constituents that were very important in the process, obviously our shareholders. We were very fortunate, as they evaluated and looked at this, had great endorsement, enthusiasm from our shareholders. And in the same way, the regulatory overview, very, very important. And we're going through that. So I would say, Peter, we're exactly where we thought we would be March the 9th, going through the process. And we fully expect, as we highlighted on March the 9th, to close in the first half of this year.
Yeah. Thank you, Greg. And something else I'd like to pick up on. You've spoken perhaps more frequently of the power of Aon United. It's been a kind of perhaps a theme that analysts I know have reported on, and of course your organisation makes a big play of it. What I'd be very interested to hear is, what exactly is Aon United from your perspective, but perhaps also how can you ensure this is retained, indeed even maybe strengthened further when you complete this transaction with Willis Towers Watson?
I appreciate you raising that. We use the phrase Aon United. It describes sort of what we're up to, but really the phrase isn't as important as the intent. And this is really a fundamental belief that when we deliver our global firm, one firm on behalf of clients, we can serve them more effectively. And we've worked very hard to reinforce that over time. It also creates a level of a platform for innovation that allows us to innovate more on their behalf, scale that innovation on their behalf, support that innovation on their behalf. And so this idea of one firm has been very, very, very reinforcing of our strategy as we've invested in clients. And I will tell you, it's been very gratifying. John Haley and Willis Towers Watson has the same view and same approach. And they've been working in the same general direction over the last number of years as well. And having spent now 10 months planning for bringing our firms together, I will tell you, our view is this idea of one firm, this idea of Aon United will be stronger because of Willis Towers Watson. Together, we will be stronger than what Aon has been and stronger than what Willis Towers Watson has been on behalf of working together against our client agenda.
Thank you, Greg. And perhaps a penultimate question, and moving away from the transaction and perhaps taking another kind of macro look at the economy. Of course, we're in January. Many people have got a kind of near-term gloomy prognosis for the obvious reasons that we're still in the middle of the pandemic and trying to come up with solutions for it. From your perspective, are you optimistic about the near-term potential for the global economy? I mean, if you were to get your crystal ball out, I mean, how would you see its prospects in 2021 and say 22?
Oh, I wouldn't say my crystal ball is any more clear than anyone else's, Peter. I wish I had that kind of insight. I would tell you, we see this as we see everything through the lens and the view of our clients. And you come back to this idea of new better. And we have been very inspired by what our clients are doing around the world, how they're reacting, how they're investing, how they're thinking about the new environment, how they adapt to it, how we support their adaptation to that. Yeah. And so obviously, a lot has to go on with the vaccine, a lot has to go on with getting pandemic beside us and behind us eventually. But we're optimistic long-term around the overall potential. We know there are going to be bumps in the road along the way. We anticipate those. We'll endure those, but long-term, we see tremendous potential sort of in the economy, tremendous potential, through the lens of our clients, and great opportunity to support them sort of in their mission.
Well, Greg, it's nice to hear an optimistic voice amid the darkness at the moment. So perhaps, looking upbeat into the future, my sort of final question is one I often ask senior industry execs. And it's twofold, really. I mean, it's one, imagine you have a friend with children that come to you for advice about what career they should go into. And would you, on that basis, recommend the insurance industry? I suspect I probably know the answer to that, but it'd be good to hear it. But if so, and they do indeed enter the industry, what do you think they should have achieved by the time they're aged 30?
Wow, Peter, listen, here's a reflection. If you're a young professional and you're thinking about what you're up to and what you want to do to make a mark in life, have impact over time, do something very meaningful, I would say, listen, when you think about the conversation we just had, and again, not about any one firm or any one company, but this is an opportunity across our industry to make a difference. In a world in which volatility, is mattering more and more, what is a better place to come to essentially help companies in the world shape volatility to enable their growth agenda, to enable them to succeed. And we have a chance now to do that in a more effective way against some of the most profound risks of our time. Climate, think about it, cyber, intellectual property, by the whole health wealth gap that is out there. All these opportunities sit before us. And as an industry, who better than us, and then who better than that individual professional to actually help clients shape that agenda? That's a pretty compelling opportunity. And so I am a big enthusiast as I've talked to young professionals about the opportunity. We have to go do it. We have to go drive it. But what a great opportunity to come and actually make that happen over time. And then in terms of sort of when you're 30, I would be less prescriptive. This is about being really good at something. And by the way, we touch all aspects of the global economy. So you're bound to sort of integrate and connect on behalf of the agenda I just described, but you do it in the context of a very, very profound opportunity.
Yeah. Great. Well, I think that comes to the end of our allotted time. So I would like to, on behalf of the Insurer TV, to thank you very much for your time, and I look forward to talking to you again soon. Thank you.
Peter, I likewise very much appreciate it.
Okay. Goodbye.